Welcome to the Bend Motorsport Park for round 2 of the Circuit Excel South Australian Championship. My teammate Sam in the number 73 that's alongside me. At the last round he pulled off the track in the last race because he had a bit of an overheating issue and a throttle issue. It turned out to be more significant than we thought because he actually cooked and warped out the entire head of the motor. So it was a little bit touch and go whether or not he was going to make it to this round, but he managed to source a new head and was able to get out here and get both cars alongside each other. They're looking great together as usual. I definitely felt a lot better going into this round than I did round 1. Having a bit of seat time in the car definitely helps, and I'm more familiar with this track, but you still get pre-round nerves, and you just got to keep a level head and get ready to do what you came here for. So jumping straight into qualifying, we've already done the Friday practice day at this stage. So starting my qualifying lap, your lap really starts here at turn 17, getting a good exit out of 17 and then carrying that momentum down into 18 and then onto the straight can really gain or lose a lot right at starting a lap. Snapping fourth down the straight, these little XLs can get up to about 170 k's down the straights. Staying on the right of the white lines. They were very strict about policing this because a lot of the guys were finding you could get side drive down the wall. Now on the brakes, as late as you can, a bit of heel toe down the third gear, tip it in, just try to touch the apex. Now you don't want to run too wide, you want to try and keep towards the middle so you get a good entry into turn 2. And then same again for turn 3, tip it in, you want to try and get the apex a little bit closer than I just did. And then try to get the steering as straight as you can to minimise the understeer, which is a common thing with these cars being front-wheel drive. Now you just want to try and keep the momentum, get into fourth, and then just sort of hug the line so you're minimising the distance. Then on the brakes again from one of the more technical corners of the track. It's a super late apex. Everyone takes it a little bit differently. I run a bit of a wide line and keep it at third. Other guys run an earlier apex and throw it into second. But I find this sort of works for me. And then onto my favourite part of the track, which is a tightening radius triple right-hander, which is downhill and off camber. It's a real bravery corner. You just got to hang on, feel the grip, follow the line, don't touch the grass, and then bring the car back to the middle of the track at the end. Left apex, car want to throw you off there, down to third, and then again, same thing, car wants to understeer, try to get it straight, and then carry that speed onto the following straight. That last right-hander at the end of that complex is a really tricky one to get right, and if you get it wrong, you can lose about 2 seconds a lap, just because it will kill your momentum down the straight. This corner's a fun one, it's a blind right-hander, you just gotta hope you get it right because you don't know till you get there. Had heaps of room left on the exit, so I probably could have carried a little bit more speed. Then on the brakes again, a little bit downhill this section, so you just gotta hang on to the car, run it the smoothest line as possible, don't let it understeer, try to keep the power on as much as you can without running wide. Just keeping that momentum going down this little short straight into 17. Now this corner is very nerve-wracking because it can make or break your lap. Go down in the second, try to get a little bit of a boost. Ooh, big snap of oversteer. Gather it up, try to recover the lap, bring it back up to third. Keep that momentum going, tip it in, half lift. Can't quite take this one flat, but you definitely want to keep the momentum up, run it all the way to the exit, run it over the curves but not into the grass, and then bring it home across the line. And that's a lap of the Bend. A lot of high speed with technical sections. It's a world-class track. It's coming to iRacing soon, so get keen for that. I genuinely really enjoy this track, and I'm gelling with it a lot better than I did with Malalar. Now back in the pits, we discovered that my front left tyre was losing about 4 psi every time I went out. So we thought it was a leaky valve stem. So we replaced that, pumped it back up and see if that fixed it for race 1. So the field of Circuit Excel is very healthy. There's a lot of entries. There was actually 42 cars that entered this weekend, but we get split up into 2 groups with separate races. There's 26 cars in my group and I qualified 19th. Lining up in my grid spot for race 1, getting comfy, waiting for the flag to fall behind me before the lights turn on. I look to my right and I got a car pulling off for the right because he had a mechanical issue and couldn't start. In this situation, they normally still start the race and just see if they can sort it out before the cars come back around. Flag falls behind me, green. Lights come on, just hold the throttle at perfect RPM, get a good start, drop the clutch, hook it down, minimal wheel spin, get a jump off the line from the guy next to me. Now already up to third, just trying to hang it into the toe from the cars in front of me, get a nice draft, use that momentum I just got from the start, and then try to look for an opening. I want the inside, I make it happen, push in there, just ease off a little bit so I don't run over the guy in front of me, and just make sure I get that inside line. This grey car's aware of me, he gives me plenty of room and goes wide, and then I just sort of keep it in the way of my teammate and make sure he doesn't get around me. Just go a little bit defensive, just make sure there's no room for him. Keeping it tight on the inside line, making sure there's no room for anyone to get past me, and then slotting it back in behind the car in front, and then using that toe, that draft all the way down the back straight. Now this is genuinely the scariest thing that's ever happened to me in a race car. I get a run and come up alongside the car I'm fighting with, there's a bit of drama in front, step on the brakes and the pedal just goes straight to the floor. There's absolutely no brake pressure. Somehow I avoid everybody and the car is intact. Flying into the pack like that, I was fully expecting to have a massive accident and have the car written off. It was pure luck that I missed everybody. Looking at the sign, the safety car's been called, so I just pretend that incident didn't happen and try to redress into the position I was before I threw it off the track. So behind the safety car, I realised two things. One, my radio wasn't working, so I was getting no feedback and didn't hear that the safety car was called. And I could actually get a little bit of brake pressure back by pumping the brakes on my left foot in the 4-inch corner. Deep down, I was hoping the race would end on the safety car just because of the lack of confidence in the brakes, but just ended up working the brake with the left foot. Just basically got a feeling of how it was behaving, just having to pump it up, and then as I was using the brake, it was kind of running away from me. So this is the restart here, everyone's bunching up a little bit. It's getting a little bit awkward at the back of the field because no one knows when the front's going. I think we're going, no we're not going, yes we're going, and everyone goes. And then I get an average getaway from the safety car just because of that awkward accordion effect that happens at the back of the grid. Fortunately for me, the guys behind me also got just as an average getaway from the safety car as I did. But unfortunately, they're a lot closer to me than I am to the car in front, so their draft on me is a lot greater, so they're closing that gap, so I've got to go defensively to turn one. So just covering off the inside at the apex, just preventing any attack down the inside. So this is later on the lap in the triple right-hander. So this real high speed section was actually an area I was gaining a lot of time when the car was in front. Just focusing on the exit of this right-hander that you can gain a lot of time out of. Get a nice exit and then sit right directly in the draft to get the car in front to break the wind in front of me. And then have a quick cheeky look up the inside. And it's not going to stick. But at least he knows I'm there and I'm looking. Just filling his mirrors and just trying to get him to look behind him instead of in front of him. But I'm definitely losing a lot of time under the brakes just because that brake pedal is mush. So this is the following lap. The car directly in front of me has put a bit of a gap on me, but he's caught up to a battle pack that's emerging. They're all sort of fighting with each other, which is then slowing them all down, letting me catch up. Craig in the grey car gets a better exit out of 17 than Perryman in the white car, and then brings it 2 wide into 18, which means you have a terrible exit onto the straight, which then allows me to catch up, and I bring it 3 wide, making sure I get the inside down the straight. So I get a car length in front of Craig, and he slots in behind me, just taking advantage of the draft to try and get past Perryman as well. I'm pumping up the brakes to make sure I've got him for turn 1. Stand on the anchors, hold the inside, and take both positions in one corner. And Perryman's filling up my mirrors, so I'm covering them both off. Craig's right behind me as well. So Craig tries to hold the inside line, but the outside line's faster, so Perryman gets a better run, plus he's got the draft from me. So the order is now me, Perryman, then Craig in the grey car behind. Just pumping the brakes back up for the next big stop. And I just take my normal line, because they're not really close enough, and Craig tries to sneak up the inside, so I sort of push a bit wide so he doesn't run on the side of me. So Craig and Perryman are still having a bit of a fight, which allows me to skip away and get a nicer exit. So back on the main straight, the other cars have gained the time back on me just because that brake pedal was running away from me in the corners. So I hold the inside line, go defensive as best as I can. Probably over defend as Perryman goes out wide, and he gets the switch back on me, goes outside to inside and puts it up on the outside of 2, which gives him the inside for 3. Now all I can do is just sit right behind him, try to soak up the draft, nail the gear shift, and just watch my mirrors and make sure that Craig doesn't try anything on me, and I'll see if I can get him back for the next corner. The draft is really strong, so I start getting a bit of a run on him. Stand on the brakes, try to push it up the inside a little bit. Meanwhile, there's a bit of drama going up in front of me, the car goes off. So I'm looking to my right. Perryman and Craig both got really good exits out of that corner, so they're both coming up alongside me. Meanwhile, as the car rejoining, I see this action unfolding, and I try to just cautiously just try to see what's going on and try to box him in behind the rejoining car. I hang it around the outside, but there isn't really enough room for 2 wide through here, and I just get hung out, but I just then regain the position back on Perryman. Perryman got a really good exit out of that complex, and he's right on my draft, so he's right on my rear bumper. I'm driving a little bit of a mirror, so I push a little bit wide into 13 here. Perryman gets a good run through the corner and gets a bit of momentum on me. And I bail out just because I'm not as confident on the brakes with the mushy pedal. Now Craig behind me has lost the position to someone else, so there's someone else filling my mirrors. Perryman's a lot quicker than I am in reality, so I just got to make sure I don't go backwards any further. Just pumping up the brakes again for 17, make sure I still got the brakes when I get there. The only way I can really describe the brakes, it's basically, imagine like you're pumping up a balloon but there's a hole on the other end and you've got to keep pumping it up, otherwise it keeps running away from you. And as I'm using the brakes, it's almost deflating. It's getting weaker and weaker as I push the pedal. So coming out of the last corner, back on the straight, and that was the last lap. That was it. That was a really good battle pack. That was my first fight in this category with other cars. I was so stoked. Perry winds out his window. We both give each other a bit of a rock and roll shuckers. This is my second event with these cars, fighting for position. I ended up P15, so I was so stoked with that result. So coming in after the race, I got called in for a random technical check. So I'd watched all the other cars in front of me get checked, and I noticed he was spending a lot more time on my front right than he was with any of the other cars.
Checking for? What are you checking for? Tampa? Sorry, I can't really hear. A bit high. Right. That's not what I set it to. There should be 3.8. race time okay? Yeah. Okay. Because I might have bumped it. Because it was supposed to be 3.8 on both sides.
Well, right there.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I don't really know what I'm doing with this car. This is only my second event.
Oh yeah. No worries. Well, can you get them down here? Or?
Yeah. Alright, give me 2 secs. I'll just run down there. So for context, the legal limit that you're allowed to have with the cam or any other tyres is 4 degrees. He measured using his instrument 5.3, so he asked me to grab the instrument for the team so we can double check it. They double checked it, that came back as 4.8 on the right side, and that exceeds the 4 degree legal limit, so that results in a technical disqualification for the race, and I lose my results. No points, that race was for nothing. That was an absolute gut punch. So I was quite upset, but the team got straight into it. We fixed the alignment and got it ready for race 2. The team also did a bit of work on the brakes. These cars run a drum brake on the rear, so the theory was the springs needed adjustment to realign the shoes, and then hopefully that would then fix the braking issue. So because of the disqualification, I'm starting this one right from the back. I get the green flag in the mirror and I just wait for the lights. Green flag, wait for the lights. Lights come on, lights go out, and I get a pretty average start. Just get heaps of wheel spin. So I just get absolutely left behind. So just watching the pack coming into turn 1, the brakes felt a lot better into turn 1 than they did at the last race. The adjustment definitely helped. So just watching the pack, just trying to find an opportunity here, get a bit of a run on Ethan Whitehead here. Just trying to sneak it up the inside, but he just gets a bit more momentum around the outside and just hangs it and pulls away from me. But as I learnt the last race, it's not over until it's over, so I sneak it back into the draft and just try to catch back up and try to make an opportunity at 6. So I get a nice bit of momentum in the draft and then run to the inside, stick it right in there, bit of a dive bomb, and then he gets a better exit out of the corner. He gives me a shove in the back to help me speed up because I'm holding him up. And now we're back into the triple right-hander. I'm pretty quick through here. Now with the shove and a bit of a draft, I've got a lot of momentum on the car in front. I try to sneak around the outside. I just get absolutely hung out. No room for me there. And then lose the position back to Ethan again. And then we're back to where I started. Basically being punished for going for a move that wasn't there and not being patient. So this is the end of the same lap. I've got right back onto the back of him again. Just trying to get in real close. I want to get past him at 17 here, so I get right up alongside him, go to the inside. Best of late brakers, brake pedal goes straight through the floor, no brakes. Straight into the gravel. So just trying to keep the momentum up, I don't want to get stuck in the gravel trap. This was so incredibly frustrating because the car felt fine right until that moment. It was almost like it's absolutely fine until the brake fluid gets hot and then it just disappears on you. So my only opportunity of any result was just praying for a safety car, which unfortunately doesn't happen. And the failure I was having with the brakes is just way worse than what I was experiencing in race 1. I'm able to constantly pump the brakes with my left foot for the entire duration of the race. Otherwise, I just have no brakes at all. And every lap it just got slightly worse. The braking I did have was asymmetrical, so front to back was all over the place, and it just borderline undrivable. So I managed to nurse it to the end. I took the checkered flag, so I still got points for finishing, but man, that was so tough. It was absolutely worn me out. I could not wait to get out of that car at the end of that. I managed to finish 10 seconds behind the next car, and I was still lapping about 4 seconds slower than I normally do. And this is on the cooldown lap, and the brakes just give out completely. There's just nothing left. It's just pick that moment, it's just gone pop, and then no brakes at all. Which, that was interesting. I was thinking now, how do I get back? The brake pressure was so weak, you probably could have stopped the car faster by putting your leg out the door and using your heel. Now I managed to get it back to the pits, and you can sort of see I'm pumping the brakes with my right foot and the car's still rolling. So it's just nothing. And Sam comes over to help. I explain the situation to him, and the team then pushes me back into the garage. So with a bit of further diagnosis and a bit of conversation with the other teams, we worked out it was actually the master cylinder that had failed, which is super unusual for these cars, which is why we didn't really jump on it first thing. So brand new master cylinder went in. Mish from Mish's XL Garage was able to source me one, which is incredible that he was able to do that for me. The entire Mish team has been fantastic at every race weekend. They're so supportive and just want to help everybody, which is great. So flush the system, new brake fluid, and then we're just doing a bleed just to get the air bubbles out. Yeah. So see this now, it's not letting me hit the wall.
Just start it.
Yeah. Whereas the So coming into race 3, now the brake issue is fixed. We're starting at the back again, but now I've got something to prove. So I'm lined up in my grid spot for race 3. Just getting in a position, waiting for the flag. The lights come on, lights go out. I get an alright start, not my best start, but it's alright. Just get jumped by Ian Morrison here on the left, and then just got to file in, try to soak up some of the draft, and follow the pack into turn 1. Now there is a car behind me. He had a DNF in the last race, was able to fix his car. Just got to watch what he's doing, defend a little bit from him because he is a bit punchy coming into the first corner, and just sort of watch for an opportunity coming up in front of me if there is one. Now the car behind me does sort of poke it up the inside a little bit on the right, and I just sort of give him a little bit of space just so he can get his nose out of my business, but the outside on 3 is a bit quicker and I just get a bit of a run on him leaving the corner. So I just sit here on the straight, soak up the draft from the 20 cars in front of me, get a run on Ethan again, and he lets me do the same move on him twice, but this time I've learned, get it in the second so I get a bit of a poke on the exit. Get the traction down, get a run, back up the third, and then clear Ethan. No bump in the rear this time. So coming through the triple right-hander, the tyres still feel a little bit cold, so I'm taking it a bit easy. The traction is quite low at the moment, but it will come up for the next few laps. So on the following lap, there's a bit of a battle pack forming in front of me, which allows me to catch up. They're just getting stuck into each other. Elliot Redwood in front takes a bit of a knock and he loses the indicator. That indicator just hit the ground and exploded. There were shards all over the track in that section for the rest of the race, except right on the racing line. There's a bit of a fight happening in front of me. I'm just biding my time, waiting for an opportunity. So I know coming up, turn 12 is a really good opportunity to make up a lot of time, so I really focus on nailing that exit, which I do, and then I use that momentum as well as the draft to just pull on him and close the gap on the straight, sneak it down the inside, and I'll do the move that Perryman did on me in race 1 and make it stick. We're drag racing, and he bails out and sits right in my mirrors. Now I've just got to try and keep him there and catch the guys in front. So coming into turn 6, Redwood goes deep in the brakes and has a bit of a lock up, which allows me to gain a heap of time on him. So I'm just keeping the pressure up on Elliot here, making sure he sees me in the mirrors. He goes a little bit deep into 18, takes a bit wide, and then if you get that corner wrong, unfortunately it just absolutely stuffs the straight and speed up. So sit in the draft, make the most of it, and then fly past him on the straight. It's so easy to get that corner wrong, but it absolutely punishes you down the straight. I see him, he's still behind me. I've cleared him, I've got a couple car lengths on him already. Don't have to defend, take my normal line. Just overcook the rears a little bit, but hang on to the car, get it into 2, then into 3, and just keep the lap going. Now I'm focusing on entries and exits, eyes forward for the next guy, gotta try and gain the time. Now coming out of 3, I notice that's my teammate going slow. His engine cut out of nowhere, completely cut out. Ended up being apparently the coil pack just died, so he had no spark. So hopefully that's the end of his bad luck for the season and he can finish every race from here on out. So here I am, I'm gaining a bit on Morrison in front. He's getting pretty ragged through some of these corners, just hanging on. The track temperature is coming up and the car's getting hot, the tyre's getting hot, so it is getting a little bit loose on the track, but he is chucking it pretty wild through there. So I can see the gap getting smaller, which is super motivating. I'm just sitting in the draft, just trying to creep closer and closer every lap. He gets really loose through 13 here, and then he absolutely just goes and sends an exit stage left to go check out the fence. Look in the mirror, what was that? Anyway, eyes forward, let's keep going. Race 3 was quite a bit longer than race 1 and 2. It was actually a 30-minute race, continuous. It's about the same as an enduro stint before you have to come in and do the driver swap for these cars. The guy in front of me, we were doing about the same lap time, plus or minus 1/10. So I'd gain a 10th and then he'd gain a 10th on me, and just going back and forth. We weren't really catching or losing on each other. Not a lot actually happened for me on track, but I did gain quite a few positions just through mechanical DNFs and stuff happening in front of me. So after all that, I got my P15, which I'd lost in the first race. Now something I've noticed is on the last race of the weekend, all the marshals clap on the side of the track. So I just wave back because they do a great job making it all happen. We couldn't do it without them. So that was round 2. Overall, that went pretty well. Besides a few minor issues, which, hey, could be better. Race 1 and 2 were a bit of a write-off, but the experience was great, and we're back here again for round 3, which that just means I get to keep building on the momentum that I've started here. Just keep that flow going into the 3rd round, just pick up where I left off. Now at the end of the video, obviously like the video if you liked it, comment if you have something to tell me. I read all your comments, love comments, best thing about this platform, and subscribe for more stuff like this. I'll see you in the next one.